Hi everyone, welcome to Not Only Diet Talk, special episode brought to you, I don't know.
Yeah, brought to everyone.
Brought to everyone and sponsored by SuperMilk. For this episode, we are going to talk very deep about protein supplement for muscle loss. And we also will invite a physiotherapist to share more about the exercise that can actually help to combat sarcopenia.
Yep.
If everybody, listeners, audiences who are watching or something like that, if you still remember what is sarcopenia, let me just tell you again. Sarcopenia is actually a muscle loss.
Yeah, and technically it's related with, it's an age related.
Yep. I'm Ameerul. I'm co-founder for My Fine Diet.
And I'm Shen Yi. We haven't really introduced ourselves. I'm co-founder of My Fine Diet, and also both of us are the hosts for Not Only Diet Talk.
Yep, and we will have a speaker, as described earlier, a physiotherapist. But for the first segment of our episode today, we're gonna discuss mainly on nutrition, which is about protein supplement for muscle loss. So we'll be discussing, but mainly I'll be asking the questions, and Shenyi will be sharing his perspective and thoughts about it.
As a dietitian.
Of course, yeah.
We have different roles here. Yep.
Exactly. Okay. And again, we wanna make a special shout out that this episode is sponsored by SuperMilk. Because we want to focus on the role of protein supplements and exercise in combating muscle loss, particularly sarcopenia.
Yep.
All right. So, Shenyi, do you count your daily protein intake?
Well, I don't really count.
Who counts, right?
Yeah, I mean
maybe a builder.
Back then in hospital, for patient we count. Probably for bodybuilder, they count. Yeah, but for me, no.
And do you take protein powder or like protein supplementation?
Actually, I once take it.
You once take it?
Yeah, previously, at the very beginning of my uni time. Yep. But right now, I don't. I mainly just take food. Protein from food.
I see. Natural stuff.
Yeah, natural stuff.
So you are taking that because of for your bulking or something?
Yeah, that time I was just started my gym. I think that was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, 6 years ago, and then I actually bought one, but eventually I didn't continue it because back then my financial status doesn't allow me to do so, because sometimes protein powder will require a higher cost.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Compared to like 45 mil or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, there will be a more affordable
options.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So a bit of summary of our discussion today. At least for the first segment, and we only have 2 segments in total.
Yep.
We want to get an expert insights from you about the protein intake among Malaysians. Yeah, because we are talking about we are Malaysians, and then we also want to do this awareness about sarcopenia among Malaysians. So we want to get more insights about Malaysians' data perspective.
Yep.
And then the combination of protein and exercise in fighting muscle loss. I think this would be quite interesting as well. Yeah. Because we have a very, a comprehensive discussion with a physiotherapist about the right exercises.
Yep.
Okay, Shenyi, let's just, we asked to every dietitian, nutritionist, right, about our nutrition principle. What is your nutrition principle?
Now, being a dietitian, my nutrition principle is very straightforward. You are what you eat.
Why so?
Yeah, because basically we know that we are, as a human, we need food to actually grow, to sustain our life. So every single day we eat. What we eat is usually food. That's why, and sometimes whether you are healthy or your body status, actually, I would say greatly depends on what is the things that you put into your mouth.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
This is a part that I believe in, that you are what you eat. If let's say you're really taking care of diet, then you can see probably the outcome will be different as compared with someone who don't really taking care of diet. And also depends on the type of food, how you take it. Yeah. So it will reflect on your own health status.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get the ball rolling into understanding the data insights, right? Because at the end of the day, the problem statement that we try to answer for our discussion today is more of the do we actually consume enough protein daily to actually avoid muscle loss, right? So do you want to give just an insights on protein intake and why is it matters?
Yeah. So you mean first thing first, and if I break it down, first thing first will be more towards the protein intake of Malaysian. Actually, based on a few data, and I didn't see any latest data that assess whether Malaysian is taking enough protein or not. But based on this Malaysian Adult Nutrition Survey, then it actually stated that most of our daily meal was actually mainly comprises of carbohydrate, and the amount of protein will be slightly less. Yeah, so that is the data that I can find, and I think if everyone think back in terms of your daily food, right? For example, if morning you probably just get some. Okay, I just take like a very general daily diet. Maybe in your breakfast you will take some biscuit with some chocolate drinks. Okay, there's like a national breakfast kind of. Then maybe lunch, some of us will get probably chicken rice, like very very normal, or some fried noodles. Then dinner time depends where you eat, but generally if you can see breakfast, lunch and dinner, we are not taking enough protein, or at least protein is not the main food that we are prioritizing.
While actually protein is super essential to our body, right?
Especially for us to combat sarcopenia, to actually fight this sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is basically, maybe some of the audience who missed up the first episode, sarcopenia is basically a age-related muscle loss.
Okay.
Yep. So if according to some analysis of prevalence, like some study actually estimate that the prevalence of sarcopenia among Malaysian is actually 20 to 30%.
That's a big number, right?
Around 20%. That means 1 out of 5 elderly, they have a higher risk.
Understand. All right. But then why is it protein so crucial for muscle maintenance, especially when we age?
So first thing first, the muscle loss as we age is a natural process where as long as we grow older, moving on to your 30s, then your muscle will start to lose. That's a natural process. Why is protein important? Because protein can help to build our muscle back. When protein able to build our muscle back, that will reduce the muscle loss along the way. With a good muscle, I shouldn't say good muscle, with enough muscle mass, they can support us to do a lot of daily activity.
Okay. But then, we've been talking a lot about this protein stuff as well in the previous episode, right? With Spingy. But then maybe we want to just remind or talk again, or maybe just share, what are the implications of excessive muscle loss actually? So that people will have more awareness about why they keep on talking about this muscle loss, why we need to keep, taking protein, for example, exercises. But what is the impact actually? What is the implication of muscle loss?
I think the most relatable situation would be when you're doing something, for example, lifting something, or you climbing staircase. Maybe if you compare, all of a sudden you start to feel lethargic. Lethargy, especially for younger adult. Previously, maybe when at your 20s, probably you can just climb up the stair without feeling tired easily. But right after, probably after 30s, you start to feel that more frequent. That could be one of the signs of your muscle actually losing. When you lose muscle, when we talk about the function of muscle, it helps with our movement. When your movement is affected, those with more serious muscle loss can even be difficult for them to carry out daily activity. I would say the most extreme case, you are having a very severe muscle loss, when you don't have much of it, probably when you fall down, easily you get fracture. Not because of bone, but because of muscle, they cannot really support your bone and muscle together. Bone would be another story.
Understand. Okay. Okay, Shenyi. So we circle back into our topic, right? Mainly about protein supplementation. So we know what is the impact, the importance of protein to our body and stuff like that. Why we need it. How does protein plays the role in preventing muscle loss, for example. Let's get back into that protein supplementation. Maybe do you want to just give scenario why people take protein supplementation and when and how, just to answer the thoughts.
So mainly protein supplement, when it comes to the picture, protein supplement is essentially one type of supplement, that focus on giving you protein. So based on some of the commonly available option, sometimes you can see some bar, you can see some powder that comes with a tube, right? So that is some of the example of protein supplement that with the purpose of it helps people who need extra high protein, who might be really lacking of protein in their daily diet, to supplement their body with enough protein. That is the function and why protein supplement exists.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does people with sarcopenia or like us preventing sarcopenia means that we have to take that protein supplementation to help to prevent it or to cure it or to reverse it?
Yeah. I mean, sarcopenia basically we need more protein, and whether you need a protein supplement or not, that really depends. In general, most of the healthy population or most of the elderly, they can just get it through food before they move on to supplementation, because supplementation itself, it serves as when you don't get enough, when you're unable to get enough from daily diet, we supplement it. Yeah, so my answer would be not like a compulsory, but of course through diet, usually our daily diet, it can help to reverse or to increase back our muscle mass as well, muscle strength.
And I think you mentioned earlier about costs, right? What are the disadvantages of protein supplementation beside costs?
I would say when protein is being further processed and commercialized, I would say this is based on my understanding. Most of the time, the nutrition content inside the protein supplement will be pure protein. Yep. But if let's say we compare with some of the daily food that we usually take,
But what it means by pure protein?
That means the only content is protein, but probably they are lacking with some minerals and vitamins. Yeah. If I give some example, I will have two example to share. First thing first, probably you are taking chicken breast. Okay, that is also a good source of protein. But inside the chicken breast itself, that comes with a lot. It comes with different types of nutrients that is naturally present. For example, some fats and some vitamins. Yeah. And second example would be like milk. Milk will be similar with protein supplement that usually comes in liquid form, but certain milk or we've talked about regular milk. Regular milk usually they have those natural nutrients, but also another type of milk is fortified milk. Fortified milk means the milk already fortified with extra nutrients.
Enriched.
Enriched with extra nutrients. So in that sense itself, when you're taking fortified milk, you're not just taking protein mainly, but you do also taking in some of the minerals like calcium or some vitamins like vitamin D, which is essential as well for bones.
Got it.
Yeah. And also one of the things that you asked just now is when should we take like protein supplement? Okay. So for the timing for us to take protein supplement, throughout all the research, there's actually no definite time. As long as you spread your protein equally throughout the day and make sure you get enough protein, then you will be able to ensure the muscle synthesis. Yeah. And because some of the people might actually, this is something that I heard before, they call it anabolic window.
What is that?
Yeah, it's like a post-workout anabolic window. Basically, it means after you do your workout, within 30 minutes to 2 hours, you have to take some, like your post-workout snack, or you need to take some high-protein food and etc. So this anabolic window might not be applicable for everyone. Yeah, and in fact, scientifically, there's no significant benefits when we talk about this anabolic window to eat protein during this anabolic window compare with you get enough protein throughout the day. So when to take proteins or protein supplement, if let's say you're doing some workout, I would suggest we can categorize into two types. First thing, if you are healthy and then you mainly can get all your protein from your diet, just make sure throughout the day you get enough protein that based on your requirement, which probably I can share later. Then the second part will be if let's say you wake up, you do your workout during fasting. That means you wake up and directly go for exercise. Then during that time, it will be recommended for you to get refill yourself with high protein food or supplements after post workout. Yep. Yeah, so that is about the when to take them. All right. Then, but here is one thing. When we mention about protein supplement, as you mentioned just now, right, the cost will be one of the things. Yeah. So alternatively, if let's say for most of the people like me during that time, I tried protein supplement, which is costly for me, right? And then probably they can consider some of the easily available milk, for example, or fortified milk. That could actually provide a good amount of protein as to maintain our muscle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that mean fortified milk is also a protein supplement?
I wouldn't put it this way, because fortified milk can be included as part of the healthy diet. So that is considered under food group. As long as in your daily diet you have enough different food groups, okay, like meat, my egg, my carbohydrate and everything.
You mean carbohydrate, protein, fat?
Yeah, that is for macronutrient distribution. But the food group will be, sometimes people drink milk. Sometimes people take chicken, like food and everything. So as long as you have different food group, right, that essentially provide with you enough of protein, then it should be good before you consider protein supplement.
Okay. Understand. Is there anything else that you want to add on this part?
Yeah, and I think the best part is that milk can be easily incorporated in our daily diet. Yeah, for example, like after during your breakfast, okay, you are taking your breakfast, you can substitute your chocolate drinks with just a glass of milk that provide you with protein rather than carbohydrates or sugar itself. Then maybe before you sleep, you can also take like 1 cup of fortified milk as to refill yourself with protein. And also there are studies stating that drinking milk before sleep could also helps you to sleep better. Yeah, so that is like extra benefits on that lah.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking about the benefits and also how does this whole protein spread throughout the day is needed in our body. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about the facts of protein, supplementation, how much we need it and everything.
Yep.
Let's try to be more practical in terms of like how can people actually calculate their daily protein needs, right? So people will have more awareness and understanding about how to do it, for example. But then we have to be very clear that there will be a 2 recommendation, I would say, like general population and also elderly population, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say we talk about elderly. Okay, maybe you just want to share like how much general population need and elderly.
Right. So protein requirement for every individual is different, depends on their age. Usually for elderly, their muscle lose faster. That's why in terms of diet, they will need to aim for higher amount of protein. So for general recommendation for younger adults, for example, right, we will recommend 0.8 gram of per kilogram of protein. Okay, they will just use their body weight to multiply with 0.8 to get their daily protein requirement. But for elderly, we'll suggest up to 1.2 gram per kilogram of protein in a daily requirement. That means 1.2 multiply with their body weight for elderly, generally 65 years old and above.
I see. So if let's say the person is 65 years old and then just like maybe 60 kilogram, he weighs 60 kilogram, just times 1.2. And then equal to the amount. That's the amount. No, it's okay. I think that's the amount that they need at the end of the day. Okay, that's very easy, right?
That's pretty easy. Yeah, and probably one of the example for audience to visualize, right?
Yeah.
For example, 65 years old, 65 or 64 years old elderly with a body weight of, for example, 62 kg. When we multiply 62 with 1.2. Approximately, we will get the protein requirement of around 75 grams. It will be 75 grams. So to visualize on how can they take this 75 gram of protein?
You mean like how can they meet the 75 gram? Okay.
Yes. Okay. After, like, this is just an example of calculation. So they will need around, for that particular person, they will need around 210 grams of, for example, chicken breast in a day. Which, imagine, for an elderly, sometimes it might be hard for them to get that 210 gram of chicken breast in a day. Yeah, because of their appetite is reducing.
Denture.
Denture as well. So it might be hard for them to comply. So alternatively, one of the option that they can have is fortified milk. Yeah, by taking.
So this is where fortified milk actually play a very huge role.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So by drinking fortified milk, it would require, I think, relatively drinking and eating, chewing, the fullness will be more towards if you're taking chicken breast.
Yeah.
But when you're drinking milk, it also give you a sufficient amount of protein. Okay, then you can actually supply your body with protein.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. So if again to translate into food perspective or like a recipe or like a meal daily, how would it would look like in your how what would suggest lah? What would you suggest it would look like for an elderly person who needs around 70 gram of protein?
Okay, that will require a more detailed calculation. But how I can see they can include is that probably breakfast, usually elderly in general, they won't take that much. So either they can take their, for example, if let's say they are taking some main meal, be it bread or anything, they can actually top up their protein intake with a glass of fortified milk.
Okay.
Then lunch-wise, they can go for food, not necessary to always go with milk and everything. Milk is just one of the option, right? Then dinner, probably they can take some protein source of food, for example, like fish, for example, so that they actually take protein as well in their dinner. Then before sleep, probably they can take another glass of fortified milk. Yeah, because some of the fortified milk in the market itself, one serving they can provide up to 10 gram of protein. So that can be one of the good source of protein for those people who are not taking enough.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's pretty much right about what we want to talk about related to protein supplementation and how fortified milk actually play a role in becoming as an alternative, especially in terms of the cost, economical factor of it. I think it's very, very huge different when we talk about protein supplementation, right?
Exactly. Maybe I will have one more thing to highlight. As in, when we mention about fortified milk, right? That is one of the other options that we can top up on top of all of the high quality protein food that we all know that we mentioned in the previous episode. I mean, animal-based protein like chicken, egg, plant-based protein like tofu, beans, legumes, tempeh. That should also be considered as part of the healthy diet as well.
Yep, understand.
Yeah.
Very, very insightful. So I think we gonna continue on talking about this protein and also its role in exercising as well. Later on, when we invite our physiotherapist to share more about how exercises can combat sarcopenia.
I'm pretty looking forward towards that actually.
Same, yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
All right, Shenyi. So just now we've been talking about the protein supplementation for the muscle loss, right?
Yep.
But of course, when we talk about protein supplement, it also comes together with exercises to combat the sarcopenia.
Yeah.
And this is the main thing that we also want to share with the public. And because we are a dietitian, right? So we are not qualified enough to talk in depth about exercises and stuff, right? So that's why we invite the right person to actually do it.
Yep.
So before I introduce him, I think this is one thing that what we practically learned before back in university. It's really important for us as the healthcare professional to know our limit, our boundary, which part where we can actually talk, which part that we cannot talk. So that's what we are trying to show here as well. When it comes to dietetics part, like diet, nutrition and stuff, of course it's dietitian or nutritionist, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to exercises, that's where we actually bring a physiotherapist.
Yeah.
With a very extensive experience in this field, I would say. So let's welcome Aknes. Maybe you just share a little bit about yourself.
So hi everyone. So I'm Aknes Tung. So I'm a physiotherapist that worked 7 years in the realm, and I have been working under private hospital for past 6 years.
Okay.
Currently, I'm on my own. I have my own team, and I'm also one of the certified orthopedic manual therapists in Malaysia. And yes, that is who I am now.
Wow, it sounds very fancy and a lot of like certifications and stuff, right?
Welcome, Agnes.
Yeah, welcome, Agnes.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the same question that we ask our guests, especially for the special episode sponsored by HL SuperMilk. So for dietitian and nutritionists, we'll ask them like, what is their nutrition principle? Okay, in their daily practice, for example. But I'm sure that as a physiotherapist, maybe you want to share your perspective. What is your principle in your daily job, like the vision or mission of your practice, for example?
So as a physiotherapist, I always have a vision that I want my patient to feel reborn or recovered throughout a rehabilitation process. Because a lot of time they feel suffering, to do exercises, to get training after their injuries. So my aim is to let them feel the joy while doing the exercises and feel the reborn after the exercises.
Understand. Okay. I think it's also nice for me to just ask Agnes a little bit more to maybe just describe or explain a little bit about physiotherapist's role,
So as a physiotherapist role, we are here to help to recover patients. Either we have two phases, what we call a pre-injury or a post-injury. Pre-injury can be like a sport athletes, young adults that they want to train to maintain the muscle strength or certain amounts of functional abilities so that they don't get injury easily. And also post is those like, after operation, they maybe have a cardiac surgery done, even a stroke. So how do they go back towards their ADL, which is an activity of daily living? So that is our roles in this area. Yes, by using different modalities, different techniques, we will try to strengthen on each individual.
I see. Sounds like a fun job, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Indeed, I come across, I meet physiotherapists before due to some injury as well. And also through that experience, managed to see how many, I would say, technique or weapon that can actually helps to support in terms of, first is in terms of your movement and everything. So which I think we're very honored to have Agnes here to talk with us about exercise, especially to tackle muscle loss.
Yep, that's true. And stay tuned until the end because we're going to insert some footage of him showing some example of exercises that can be done. So I mean, we talk about protein and exercises a lot, right? Let's move on into the main discussion. We've been talking this since the first episode about protein, about exercises, protein exercises and meal and stuff like that, right? So let's just ask from the person himself, right? Like why exercise is so essential in fighting sarcopenia.
So because sarcopenia, as we know, is a muscle loss while we're aging, and then it will affect a lot of things. For example, our balances, our coordination. So while exercising, it actually increase our metabolism rate, will increase our blood flow in the human body. It also helps to maintain our muscle mass, so that when our muscle mass are maintained, we are maintaining the strength, so we're not losing the power. And also, while going through these two stages, definitely our mobility, our coordination and balance will be able to maintain too. That's why exercise is important in the role for sarcopenia, countering sarcopenia.
Any kind of exercises?
I would say any kind of exercises. For example, people do aerobics, people do strength training, but mostly strength training are we call the most, I would say, important, most specific roles. They play a lot of roles into helping people to stimulate the growth in the muscle compared towards aerobic exercises. Yes.
Okay. For the benefit of like the audiences, right? Maybe you just want to share a little bit what is strength training and what is aerobic.
Okay, so strength training and aerobic training, we call it like anaerobic and aerobic exercises. So aerobic exercises basically are things that requires a lot more cardio efforts. That you need a lot of breathing, boost your heart rates more. While anaerobic exercises are lesser involvement of our cardio parts, and it's more on facilitating the lactate acid towards the muscle.
I see. Okay, so how does strength training actually stimulate muscle growth?
So strength training actually give mechanical tensions towards the muscle, where this will cause some what we call micro tear towards the fiber of the tendons. And when our body try to repair, our lactate acid will start to sit in and give them more energy. And also, this micro tear will cause more like give us our body a signal to repair and to grow better, to accommodate towards the endurance, towards the strength they needed for that particular movement or for that particular muscle group. Yes.
I see. Okay. All right. Just and something that is a little bit outside of topic, right? Because we know for the fact that if let's say you do a lot of cardio, you're gonna lose a lot of muscle. Is that correct?
I would not say cardio lose muscle. I would say that cardio may lean up the muscle, but strength training will bulk the muscle more.
Okay.
That is the main differences.
Okay.
Yes, and then cardio most of the time is a lot of endurance training. Yes, it's just talking about either, because as my realm we know that muscle can have short firing and also long endurance firing movement. So there's few types of muscle fibers that are doing on. So aerobics are targeting usually mostly on the endurance part. Yes, and then strength training mostly targeted on the bulking, on the power side of the muscle. Yes.
Okay, so that's why strength training is more
essential towards countering sarcopenia.
That's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah.
I see. I have a question here.
Yeah.
Since we talk about strength training and also the cardio, right? So, since you mentioned about strength training will be more important in maintaining muscle mass, but we do also know that to improve the endurance of our muscle, we need cardio.
Cardio, correct.
Okay. So, how would you recommend, or in a general recommendation, how should our audience, or ourselves, right, in order to maintain our muscle, how would be the ratio be like it should be in general?
So if personally from my point of view, I would say 2-to-1 kind of ratios, which mean, combating aerobic, for example, like simple swimming exercises, cycling exercises, maybe 30 minutes per week at least, just to maintain your cardio fitness. And then unless you are specifically want to train your heart, for example, post operative or cardiac surgery, so that kind of patient or that kind of clients might wanted to train the targeted heart rate, specific heart rate they want to train back, then they'll be different. If they go through too much of strength, it might affect them also. Yes.
What will happen if
most of the time this kind of patient, when they go to strength, the strength training requires a lot of energy part, so sometimes it also boosts up their cardiac pace, and we don't want them to overboost that. We want them to maintain a suitable range to train the heart, instead of quickly boost it up.
I see. Sorry, before you continue next. Just now you mentioned about 2-to-1. So if 2-to-1 will be, what I understand is like a ratio, right? So 2 is for strength training, or
2 is for strength training, maybe 1 is for aerobic training.
So if let's say someone without any specific concern, for example, no cardiac issue, the general way or the rules of thumb for them would be maybe just 1 hour of strength training and with 30 minutes of
cardiac. Yes.
I see. Right.
All right. So we understand a little bit about the differences between the type of exercises.
Yes.
But also what example of exercises that can be done to stimulate the muscle growth?
So exercises that can be done, actually there's a lot of exercises we can do for muscle strengthening.
Yep.
And then we can start with most basic is body weight. And then the next stage will be with resistance. And then body weights, if you ask me personally with strengthening exercise part, I will choose, give me the top 4. I give you the top 4 that I understand or I think is best to people. So 1, we're going to talk about squat, sit and stand movement. So for elderly, maybe they can start with the chair and then both hands on the legs, on the knees, and then stand up and down. And then the next I will choose will be our what we call a standing leg raises. So which means stand in the static position. You can support for those balance are more challenging. And then swing our leg in front and kick sideways, kick backwards. This is to train our lower body strength.
Nice.
And also the third one I will choose, we're gonna be wall push-ups.
Wall push-up.
Right. Or table push-up. Yes. So this strengthens the arms part for the patient or for the clients or for the audience. And also the fourth one, I will say seated row.
Seated row.
People can take a towel, they can use a resistant band. So sit on the chair and then they just kind of roll backwards. So this is to stimulate the back part of the muscle. Why back part of the muscle is important in this is because a lot of time we see old people, they always hunch. Because the muscle of the back are getting weaker, or the way they see the sedentary lifestyle they have. So by doing rowing a lot, this will stimulate the muscle at the back to hold them back with a better posture, and also reduce the risk of having a back pain.
I see. Wow, that's very practical, and indirectly it's like a whole body.
Yes, indirectly this 4 is covering the whole body already. Basically the upper limbs, your lower limbs, your back, your core.
Okay.
Yes.
How is it for, just now I think you were mainly specify on the older, right? Like people who maybe have a lesser strength, for example.
Correct.
But what if I'm like 35 or 40 years old?
Okay, if you're 35, 40 years old, let's say without any concern of medical side, and definitely we can go with resistant training, which means with external weights, not only body weights. So external weights will comes usually within 10 to 12 reps, and then the weights is comfortably around challenging your perspective of what we call like tiredness towards the muscle around 70%. Yes, we don't want to chase to 100% fatigueness because you are not doing a PR. PR means the best reps that you can do, the best weight you can push. So usually I will challenge my patient with 7 reps of certain amount of weights, and I'll ask them feedback. How do you feel? Do you feel it's too easy, too light, or when they do the movement or when they do the exercises, you can see that the plates maybe swinging too easily. They can carry it like kacang putih like that. Yes, so it's really depends on how you tailor made for that patient, and then definitely we need to understand what is their concern of doing strength. Are they mainly want to do strength just to build the body, or are they going towards certain sports, or are they want to do prevention when they go old?
Yeah, I understand. I think he mentioned a very important point about tailor-made, because everybody has different needs, different goals.
Correct. Different background.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, different background. We might all having the same condition, but each individual gonna be different for sure. Yes.
That's nice. Okay, so like how often basically exercises should be done?
So basically by American's University of Sports Medicine and also WHO, they are suggesting 2 to 3 times a week. So per round of exercises gonna stays within 10 to 12 reps and also 1 to 2 set of it. And they also advise to have a rest in between the sets around 60 seconds. So this is crucial for our body to recover from whatever we are doing. Yes.
How long again?
60 seconds, approximately 1 minute break in between. So if your cardio endurance or your, when you build tougher, you can cut down to 30 seconds.
Okay,
max. Yeah.
Understand. What if they rest for more than 2 minutes?
When they rest for more than 2 minutes, actually it's just that the muscle already cool down position. They are not consistent in a pump position.
I see.
Yes. But it doesn't mean that, you rest too long, it will cause you trouble. Yeah, it's just that to be more effective, 60 seconds is just nice for them.
So to be effective is more of the physical side or mentally side, psychologically?
I would say both, because you need to understand one is what is the purpose you're doing it. If you don't understand why, so let's say one day I'm gonna bring Shenyi to the gym and he's like, oh okay, let's go, and he don't know why are we doing it, then he won't feel the fun of it. He won't feel the purpose of why are we doing this, why are we doing 50 kilos of carrying.
Understand.
Challenging 70, I can go 70, why not 70? So most important, I think, for a patient or client is to understand why, the why, the needs of it. So when we understand the why, we can counter it in a different realm.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah, I have something to add on, because since not really add on to understand further, because just now you mentioned 20 to 30 minutes, right? Like, is it like in a week, or the general recommendation from WHO that you mentioned just now? It will be 30 minutes every day, or?
It's actually 20 to 30 minutes per round of the week. That's mean like 2 to 3 times per week, right? So that one session is about 20 to 30 minutes.
So that means in a week, maybe 3 times of 30 minutes, exercise with the
resistance training, or bodyweight training, we call it,
I understand.
Just to maintain their strength and to counter the sarcopenia part.
I see. So because as for a more general recommendation, we usually, what I heard before is more towards 150 minutes per week.
Yes.
Is what you mentioned is the latest one, or is like they target different thing?
What I mentioned is mostly targeted different things.
I see.
Sarcopenia pathway.
Understand.
So that what you mentioned, the 150 minutes is more general health.
Yeah.
Makes sense now.
That's why we have our expert here. Yes. Because for general recommendation, we will always recommend 150 minutes. But when it comes specifically towards muscle, then it will be 15 to 30
20
to 30 minutes
per 2 to 3 times a week. So it's around 90 minutes a week.
Specifically for the exercise that stimulate the muscle.
Stimulate muscle, correct.
Okay.
Before I'm making the crossover into the nutrition side, I wanted to ask from Aknes, based on your experience, do you encounter a lot of patients with sarcopenia?
Yes, I would say sarcopenia is one of the pathway of us aging as a human, and definitely I've seen elderlies that are active. I have a patient that are 72 years old, able to do Ironman.
Wow.
Triathlon. And completed it although he doesn't get any plates or
Yeah, it's
whatever,
okay.
but
Yeah.
I really
The fact that he
respect-
completed
he
it,
completed it. Some things that I might not be able to,
Yeah.
complete it. So it's really respecting him. And I have those who really are sedentary lifestyle, never been exercising and got an injury, hip fractured, and then now need to start back the exercises. So when I see these two cases, their recovery periods and the recovery rates of getting back towards the before injury is really different and longer for those who are sedentary lifestyle.
I understand.
Yes. We didn't talk about their lifestyle of maybe they are smoking or not.
Of course.
What food they are eating. So we're just basically talking about are they active and non-active. So some people would think that I clean the house, I go to work. It's actually exercise.
Yeah.
So actually, it's so different towards what we call strength training exercises. Yeah.
Understand.
So we don't compromise it. We just I'm swapping the floor, I'm mopping the floor. This kind of
Understand.
thing.
Yes. Heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So pretty much our role are kind of like interconnected in a way,
Yes,
physiotherapist and
definitely.
nutrition, right?
Yep.
And you've been in the experience in the field for quite some time, and you've been working with maybe some medical professionals and stuff, including dietitian. So what do you think about protein supplementation alongside exercise? Do we really need it in your point of view?
Actually, protein supplements is usually, I would not say 100% must. I would say that because from the daily food we can also consume, we can get from milk, we can get from meat, all this. So if you are able to consume enough, your diet, your balance out your diet, then I don't think supplement is essential. But unless you are under certain condition and doctor advise you that, okay, look, you need to start taking more of this nutrition, then I would say yes. So it's very depending on that lifestyle of the patient.
Understand.
Yeah.
You want to highlight anything else, Shenyi?
I think as what Agnes mentioned, definitely protein supplement it wouldn't be a compulsory for everyone, but also depends on your goal. If let's say some really a bedridden client, okay, they need to have that. Some people who really want to go for like some competition, or they're building their body, that protein supplement with the right amount will be beneficial. But I think a big portion of it that we didn't capture is those usual healthy community where they just do some exercise, they are disease free, will they need it as long as they get enough protein from daily diet, that should be fine. And at the same time, we do understand some people will think that it's easy for me to get protein supplement because directly I just buy a big tub, then I can take it. But if your diet already having enough of high quality protein, for example, so you wouldn't need to like extra supplements. But of course, it comes with the calculation that I mentioned in the early part of this episode.
Understand. And why would you pay more of that supplementation if you can get it cheaper for the 45 ml, right?
Yes, one of the example will be milk, because milk, it will be similar as liquid that you just drink like a beverage, and sometimes protein supplement will have some concern over cost. And some of the time the amount of protein will be high as well, will be like very high in the protein supplement. So it really depends.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think the next question that I'm gonna ask is either of you will answer, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it's like, what does a daily routine with dairy milk, with fortified milk and exercise look like?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So let's imagine like starting in the morning. So let's say in the morning you can start your day with a balanced breakfast or high protein breakfast. For example, you can include some fortified milk alongside with your breakfast, for example. That could actually fill yourself up with protein.
Yep.
As we know, protein will be essential for muscle synthesis. That will be the first part. And then going throughout the day itself, if let's say talking about protein because if you talk about a diet that can preserve or maintain our muscle, protein will be top priority list. Throughout the day, try to include protein along your day. But in terms of exercise part, exercise part will be better for you to elaborate more.
I would say protein, as we know, is a source of energy. So it gives us more energy or power when we perform a sport or when we perform activities. So I said that I would not limit it to say that only this amount of food you need to eat, or minimum you have to achieve this, then you can only do the sport. But I said if you can have it alongside, that's why all these protein bars are coming in. You know, the pre-workout kind of things are coming in. So I would say that if you have enough sources, it doesn't really necessary that you must eat something before the game or before the exercises.
Understand. Okay, let me make it into more practical so that audiences can understand better, especially for maybe younger audiences lah. So example, I might already have some symptom of like muscle loss, for example, right? And I want to start workout and I want to start incorporate fortified milk. So I wanted to know in terms of the practicality, when is the right time for me to take this drink actually? Like how many minutes before workout, after workout? Is there any specific right time, the best time? You know what I mean?
As my side, I haven't have a really specific time of getting, but it depends on, okay, now you are talking about you are getting muscle loss, you want to gain weights.
And I want to gain muscle.
You want to gain muscle, right? So it depends back to the routine. The aim is that you want to get bulk, basically. Okay. So getting bulk, some people, they will split your meals into 5 to 6 meals per day. So there might be certain routines in the times that, okay, maybe you have to have 3 hours in between every meals, or 4 hours have in betweens, and then what you can consume in between, and you need to count the calories, count the protein intake towards your body requirements, and then your targeted body requirements, how much you need to go to, and then what is the type of activity you're going. Are you doing aerobic? Are you doing strength? And then there will be a different counting from there.
Okay, I have another one that is outside of topic as well, because we've been talking a lot about muscle loss, you know, like this protein and then exercises, but we never really talk about something that is more tangible, like the test, you know, like how do people know that they're actually losing muscle? What kind of tests that they can do, that they can check, so that we can really provide a practical tips to like a younger people before we get into the age where we know for the fact that we can't change, that when we get older, when we aging, and then our muscle will start to lose by itself, for example. How do we actually prevent earlier? Of course, we need to know, like, is it really losing, or it's just like our perception? So do you know any tests or like something that we can do?
Okay, we have one we use it as a physio for general body strength. We call it hand dynamometer.
Wow.
So that thing is you squeeze, so it's like generating how much power you have on the upper body towards the core. And then we have another thing we call a muscle measurement, comparing your left and right limbs, where how is the size differences, and then the third one is sometimes we can see through MRI that, you know, when the muscle are shrinking, the fat are getting more deposed compared to before. That is how we can compare left and right also.
I see.
Eventually people have a more bulk on the dominant side. Yes, that is something I need to address, because some people say, why my right side are more bigger than my left? Because that is more dominant. You always use that muscle. Yes. So we have to measure it out, and then we compare, you know, maybe after 1 month, maybe 2 months.
Although is this very easy to accessible for the public?
I say it's quite accessible for the public. Dynamometer, you can get it quite randomly easily, online, and all. And then the measurement, you just need to know where and then how to measure it. Then usually it's just a recording, basically. Yes.
Awesome.
I did come across one simple test is sit stand chair test. Basically, they ask like, I think that is relatively simple without involve any equipment, but that also serve like a very general screening lah. So basically, they just need someone to prepare a chair, and then they just sit on the chair and stand up within 30 seconds. It depends on how many times they can do. With that, there is a certain guideline on that. Within that limit itself, that actually might indicate whether you're having muscle loss or you're actually having enough muscle.
Interesting. Something that people can just do by themselves. That's
Mm.
nice.
And some people, like with the test, you can ask them to pre-record it, and then to compare before and after.
That's true.
So that you can see the differences, how the way you get up, how the way you sit down, do you lost balance in between the exercises, and the mechanism that you use, you know, a lot of trunks, a lot more legs, a lot of hands to support, and then it also can see on the balance part, the coordination part of it.
I understand. You want to add something?
I just thought of something that Agnes was mentioning just now. Like, there is no specific guideline, as in we need to take protein supplement or protein, like let's say milk or anything
No,
before
okay.
after.
I'm sorry to cut you on that, but
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the protein supplement because we know for the fact that protein supplement we answer it as a no, right? But I'm specifying on the fortified milk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Will be fortified milk, because I received some of the question was saying, can I drink fortified milk after workout or should I drink before workout? There will be the things. As what Agnes was mentioning, there's no specific guideline. But if let's say someone who do a workout when he or she is doing fasting, for example, wake up, you directly go to the gym. Then after that, like it will be good right after your exercise, right after workout, you actually incorporate with some high protein food, to actually provide like a instant supplement or replenish in terms of the protein. That could help with the whole performance and also muscle mass. But of course, if for someone who already take enough protein throughout the day, then the pre-post workout snack might not be significantly helpful, because we already get adequate protein throughout the meals of the day.
Understand.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I think that's pretty much the main understanding about this whole exercises and also protein supplementation and stuff, right? But I think it's good for us to provide a call to action or like a quick tips for our audiences. So maybe any of you want to start first?
Like you mean quick tips?
Yeah, like a call to action, you know. Yeah.
I think if you were asking the tips to maintain the muscle mass in terms of diet, first thing first, or I think the top priority will still be protein. Yeah, will still be like prioritize protein in your daily meal. Try to include protein based on your own body requirement, based on your activity level as well, so that you plan it well. Make sure at least if you are taking 3 meals or 5 meals per day, every meals you should have protein. One of the example would be dairy milk lah. Yeah, you can include milk as if let's say for certain population they feel like taking, like what I mentioned earlier, like they don't feel like taking a big amount of, for example, chicken breast. Okay, fortified milk can be one of the option for you to get a quick energy, quick protein source.
I understand.
Yeah.
What about in terms of exercises?
As a physio part, I will advise audience or patients is gonna be repair your cars often. Don't wait until maintains your car often. Don't wait until they
that's
they
a good
break
analogy.
down.
Yeah.
So when it break down, is a longer period. Cost
more money.
You're gonna spend more time. You're gonna have more waiting hours and all.
Yeah.
Yes, and human body are not like cars. We don't have spare parts. And then yes, I would say that is most important as a physiotherapy point of view.
That's
yes.
amazing.
When you can move. Yes,
Wow.
movement is the most priority recovery in a rehab point of view.
Wow, that's actually a very, very important point that you mentioned. Yeah, easy to understand, like very crispy, like very short. People can understand it and imagine very well.
Yep.
Okay, so is there any point that you guys want to set on before I just close the session?
I'm good for my side. I think we have discussed quite a lot about diet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Even exercise part. And I think to add on what Shenyi mentioned just now about fasting and then start away, exercise, then consume. I can relate it maybe is because after fasting and all, our body requires certain amount of energy to recover or to heal back.
Yep.
And at the same time, with the fastings and directly after exercises, we consume the milk, our body absorption might be much better compared to the normal state. Yes.
All right, so let's move into the summary part of it. I would like we recap the main points because we've been talking over like similar stuff, I would say, regarding protein, regarding exercises, and these are the main part that relates back to muscle loss or sarcopenia, right?
Yeah.
And you've been sharing about this protein supplementation specifically for this episode, and we get the perspective or the point of view from physiotherapy side in terms of exercises in combating sarcopenia and stuff. And thank you so much, Agnes, for accepting our invitation, for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. We hope that we can, talk more about physiotherapists and how you're being treated in Malaysia as
Definitely,
a
we have a long story for this.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about our episode today. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to Not Only Diet Talk for future episodes, because we have several other episodes for upcoming.
Yep.
Very interesting as well. Very interesting guest speakers. But also at the end of the day, we would like to thank HL SuperMilk for sponsoring our episode today. We will recommend to take 1 to 2 glasses of fortified milk, like HL SuperMilk, to be incorporated in your daily healthy diet.
Yep.
Okay. And then, you can drink 2 glasses of HL SuperMilk to get a 20 gram of daily protein instead of like taking supplementation, right?
Supplementation, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all for our episode today. Thank you so much everyone for listening or watching if you are on YouTube. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.